It was so terribly cold. Snow was falling, and it was almost dark. In the cold and gloom a poor little girl, bareheaded and barefoot, was walking through the streets. In a pocket she carried several packages of matches, and she held a box of them in her hand.
Anyone want to buy a match? Do you want to buy a match? Oh, no.
In all the windows lights were shining, and there was a wonderful smell of roast goose, for it was New Year's Eve. Yes, she thought of that. In a corner formed by a house, she sat down and drew up her little feet under her. She was getting colder and colder.
So cold. But I do not dare to go home, because the matches didn't sell one. My father would beat me.
She could only take one from the box and rub it against the wall and warm her hands. She drew one out. It made a warm, bright flame, like a little candle. How wonderfully the fire burned! How comfortable it was! The youngster stretched out her feet to warm them too. Then the little flame went out. She had only the remains of the burned match in her hand. She struck another match against the wall. It burned brightly, and when the light fell upon the wall it became transparent like a thin veil. And she could see through it into a room. On the table a snow-white cloth was spread, and on it stood a shining dinner service. Then the match went out, and she could only see the thick, cold wall. She lighted another match. Then she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. It was much larger and much more beautiful than the one I see in last Christmas. Thousands of candles burned on the green branches, and colored pictures like those in the print shops looked down at her. The little girl reached both her hands toward them. Then the match went out, but the Christmas lights mounted higher. She saw them now as bright stars in the sky. Said the little girl with red cheeks and smiling mouth, frozen to death on the last evening of the old year. The New Year's sun rose upon a little pathetic figure. The child sat here, stiff and cold, holding the matches, of which one bundle was almost burned.
She wanted to warm herself.
No one imagined what beautiful things she had seen, and how happily she had gone into the bright new year. The moral value of the story is to behave charitably toward those who are less fortunate.